Hello, welcome back to Book Lessons with Tosi. We're still on the edition of The Lady in the book, The Lady, Our Lover, and Our Lord. I'm going to be asking you a few questions. Are men really stronger than women? Should we be having that conversation in the first place? And as a wife, why do I need to submit to my husband? I mean, if we are supposed to be equal. Yeah, I know these are questions that plague our society these days. Feminine movement, we're not inferior to men. Why do men think they're better than us? And I'm going to be pointing out things I've learned and things I think as a lady you should take note of. First of all, the strength of a woman is different from a man, not lesser. And that's one thing you should understand. You know, the way people say things depends on their understanding. And when you have the right understanding, you're prone to make the wrong conclusions and act based on those conclusions. So, as a woman, you shouldn't feel inferior to a man. Yeah, our strength are not the same. We may not be as physically strong as a man, but that doesn't mean we are inferior. That doesn't mean we're lesser than them, because God did not intend that to be. So as a lady, you have to know your worth. And I wonder sometimes why do we even need to have the conversation in the first place? I mean, why should we compare ourselves with a man? I mean, the fact that you're different in your body structure should make you just realize the fact that, hey, I'm not a man. So why do I need to compare myself to a man? Why do I need to feel like I have to be treated like a man when I'm a woman? You have to recognize that you are different, you are unique. The problem comes when we do not understand our uniqueness as women. We do not understand our place. We do not understand the difference in us and why that difference is there. And then we try to feel like, okay, the man is being oppressive, they're domineering. And no, that shouldn't even come into the place if you understand who you are, if you know who you are. I like to use this analogy between the eagle and the lion. I love this analogy so well. The lion is known as the king of the jungle. The eagle is known as the king of the birds in the air. It will make no sense if the eagle decides to toggle with the lion and say, hey, I want to prove that I'm better than you, so let's run a race, let's see who wins. It's not going to make any sense because they don't operate in the same sphere. The lion operates on the ground, the eagle in the air. And the eagle has recognized its place. First of all, he knows his place, that his place is in the air. So he doesn't have any business competing with the lion on the ground because that is not his place. He knows his capabilities. The eagle has wings, the lion doesn't have wings. So he knows that I'm structured differently. I'm structured to have wings because I'm meant to fly. The lion is structured differently. He doesn't have wings because he has no business being in the air. And that's why as a woman, if you understand that even your physical, features really have a place, they have a place to play, a role to play in defining your roles, in defining who you are, in defining your position, in defining your worth. And that's why there shouldn't be any use of competition, any use for comparison, any use for, conquest or conflicts between the man and the woman. If you understand who we are, if you understand our place, if you understand our position and what we possess, the potentials that we have as women. The second question, or third question I asked was, at the beginning was, as a woman, do I need to submit to my husband? I'm talking about the husband now because the Bible says you should submit to her husband, not just any man. So put that in context. It's not saying you have to submit to any man. You have to submit to your husband. And in today's world, where there are women that feel, hey, my husband doesn't have a right to tell me what to do maybe because of my status or something like that, you should understand that God, first of all, instituted marriage. Marriage is a God thing. And so you do not have the right to lay the claims of how it should run. There's a reason why God made your husband the head. And even as a single lady, you have to understand this so you don't get into trouble. Then you start struggling with your husband on what or what not to do. Your husband is made the head because it's meant to be a covering for you. And you can't, when you're talking about a covering, you have to stay under a covering, right? If something is supposed to cover you, you're not supposed to be on top of the person. You're not going to be side by side with the person. You have to stay under that covering or under that person for that covering to have, to play its role over you. So your husband is made as a covering for you. Spiritually is your covering, physically is your covering, emotionally, financially. He is meant to serve as a covering for you, and that's why you are made to submit under him, not because you are less better than him. No, God sees you and your husband, God sees you as a woman and a man as the same, but with different capabilities, different features, different position, different roles. That doesn't make you any less important to God. Number 2 is that you must realize that although your husband is a covering for you, you are meant to make him feel complete. So it's not about, hey, it's just there. I'm meant to just submit to him. I'm meant to just under him and all that. It's beyond that. You are very important in a man's life, in your husband's life. You're meant to make him complete. When God saw the man, he said it's not good for a man to be alone. I mean, to think that everything God created, God looked at it and said it was good, and then when it came to the man, God had to say no. The state at which the man is not good. The woman it was intentional that God created. It wasn't a mistake. So you have to understand that you're meant to make a man complete. It means if your husband doesn't have you in his life, he's not complete. I mean, you should understand how important you are. And until you get this understanding that I'm not just there as an addition, I'm actually there as someone meant to complete this person, because without you, your husband is not complete. And that's why there's no need for competition, because you both are supposed to help each other. You're supposed to work together. Your husband is serving as a covering for you, and you are making him complete. You're making him whole. You are missing rib. And so without you, the man is not full. It's not whole, because he needs you. It's the way God made it. And that's why you have to see it. It's not about you trying to feel. I mean, there's no need to make a point. I don't know. As in, what point are you trying to make? If you understand who you are, if you know your worth as a woman, you don't need to try to make a point. If you're in where you are, if you're operating in the role God has placed you with, I mean, it's actually glaring that there's some things you can't. A man cannot do that you can do. A man can't. He can't give birth. A man can't carry a child. He can't carry a life inside of him, but you can. That's a whole lot of, a whole lot of things that a man can do. It's a whole big difference. And I want you to recognize as a woman that you are very important in God's scheme. When God was to make a redemption plan for man, it included you as a woman. I mean, it said the seed of the woman shall bruise the head of the serpent. God had you in mind when he was making creation. God had you in mind when he was making a redemption plan, and God still has you in mind. And so do not undervalue yourself. Do not make anybody feel inferior. And there's no need for you to compete yourself with a man, whether in the workplace, in your marriage, in the church. Leave out the potentials that God has embedded in. So look inward, explore all the possibilities, the potentials that God has embedded in you. You are special, you are unique, you're one of a kind. God has you in mind. He has a role for you to play. So put away all the comparison, the competition. Submit your aspirations unto the Lord, because he has been made as a covenant for you, and you are there to make him complete. So you are supposed to work together in synergy, in cooperation, and that is when you will see your marriage blossom. Yeah. So just live out the life God has made you to be. Embrace your uniqueness, embrace your features, because a man can't be you in any way, because you are unique and God has made you so. I believe you've learned one or two things here. If you have any comments, suggestions, other things you want to learn, if you're reading the book, I would sure love to know what you think about the book. If you haven't gotten it yet, please do. It's The Lady, the Lover, Our Lover, and Our Lord by T.D. Jakes. Bye. See you some other time. Bye.